LSU, South Carolina, split a game 1-1. Third game gets canceled because of the weather. I want to start with the first game. Paul Skeens let up 2 home runs, his first 2 home runs of the year. Of course, he's going to let up home runs to the 2 guys that are leading the nation in home runs, playing in the Little League softball field that they play in. I think it was 320 down the left field wall, which is just a joke.
I mean, he would have cleared that out
college baseball
too. I mean, it was.
I would have
name at Alex Box.
well, still. And then we get a lightning delay, weather delay. Not great spot for LSU. Down 3-1, still a very winnable game, but with an hour and a half weather delay, of course, both starters are pulled. Hurts LSU there because you're looking at, we might have to play a doubleheader tomorrow. Who do I want to put in? You know, it's a close game. You don't want to lose it. Probably go to someone like a Garrett Edwards or Riley Cooper. No! Jay Johnson puts in someone with a 9 ERA. I don't even remember his name. It was
kid made the travel roster as a bat boy and then come out and toss.
Well, that wasn't even the bad one. Not the kid from Canada. I'm talking about the first kid. It was Sam Dutton, wasn't it? No.
That was our Sunday starter last year.
Yeah.
Dutton comes in and lets him.
He was a stud during his freshman season.
Well, he sucked Thursday night. Comes in and lets in like 3 runs. And then you say Buckham or whatever his name is.
Bucknam?
I didn't even know he was on the team. Like Wade mentioned, he probably was the bat boy. I mean, he walks the bases loaded. And you're like, oh, great. And guess who's up to bat? The guy that leads the country in home runs. He puts a nuke over the left field short wall for a grand slam. Okay, you're thinking, all right, we got to pull this kid. No, let's leave him in. He lets up another home run. Oh, he walks the bases loaded again. You got to pull the right. No, let's leave him in. Jay Johnson. At this point, the game went from 3-1, very winnable game, coming off the weather delay, to you're down like 15-2. And it's like you got nothing. I mean, LSU ends up losing. I think it was like 15-7. Tyler, is that right?
It was 13-5.
Yeah, whatever it is. They just chalked it up as an L. I don't understand that because you could have potentially won the series 2-0. But now you split it. Of course, it didn't look great on Friday. We're down by 4 going into the 8th inning. We get some momentum going. I mean, Ty Floyd didn't look great. We had kind of a bullpen game there. Garrett Edwards comes in and throws like two batters, and all of a sudden he's grabbing his elbow. So that's not a great look after we just had Chase Shores with the injury, which Jay Johnson did say there's no reason to believe it's a season-ending injury just yet. They still have some more tests to run, but things look on the positive side, so that's good. You get the bases loaded. You get Gavin Dugas coming up, doing what he does. Mr. Clutch hits a grand slam to tie the game. And then I think, was it Trey Morgan that had that RBI? It was, yes, that's right, because it was Dylan Cruz and Tommy Tanks on the bases, and Mr. CB, the Cajun Crusher, K. Veloso, the 5th-year senior, big boy. That the announcers
better say that out loud if he hits a nuke whenever we go.
The Cajun Crusher. I'm going to scream it. The announcers could not believe that he was only taking a 4-foot lead off of first base. Yeah, because he's pushing 250, man. He's not stealing. Like, come on. The announcement this week. Sorry, Wade. I know you're a South Carolina guy. They sucked. It was awful listening to it. Umpire sucked.
As bad as the umps. Yeah, I was about to say.
South Carolina baseball went through a complete rebirth since they, won the national championship in 2009. The coach became the athletic director. They made a dud of a hire. Until this year, it looked like they made another dud of a hire, and they probably got new announcers. So it's a whole different program from when I saw it. But, I don't know. Those guys were pretty unbearable, but I think it does show how much money LSU puts into, their baseball, that we have guys like Ben McDonald on our broadcast regularly, who's really a national ESPN personality when it comes to, their coverage in the College World Series and then the regionals. So
no one's better than Lynn Rawns.
No, he is top tier announcer.
No, I'm sure they're a little biased as well, but they do have a good way of
that's what I was. That's what I
No.
was gonna say. Was
Every
that
home run, he says, "Pucker up and kiss that baby goodbye," no matter what color you're wearing.
that is true. I was gonna say I am being a little biased, being an LSU fan. Of course, we were getting our tails handed to us on Thursday, and I was just, annoyed. But yeah, those announcers were. There's just no enthusiasm from either side. And the cameras were a little sketchy too. Like you said, LSU probably puts a lot more money into their broadcast. I'm just shocked like ESPN or SEC Network didn't pick it up. You got the number 1 team and the number 6 team in the country duking it out on Thursday and Friday. And you tell me we got to watch it on ESPN Plus from the Gamecock Live National, the Cock Network. I mean, what is going on?
I would say college baseball is popular enough at this point that there should be, at the very minimum, 2 games a night on SEC Network. And, as the season goes along, you just flex the game up or down, make it a 5 o'clock game.
It makes me laugh. You know what they had on ESPNU? Alabama, Mississippi State. None of those teams were even ranked.
So they had college baseball on ESPN?
Yeah, they had it on ESPNU, Mississippi State and Alabama. They had that series on. But the one series I do agree was Florida and Tennessee. That was really the headliner series in the SEC. But I do agree with you. I mean, at least one of the games this weekend should have been at least on SEC Network. I mean, that's what they brought SEC Network, right? Is to have more
a triple header every Saturday.
It should be on like every day. It's not like you have, it should be back to back to back. That's what they do in football. In football, they have an 11 a.m. game, they have a 2:30 game, and they have their 6 o'clock Saturday night game. So it's not that complicated. And yeah, I put it on mute. I was sick and tired of those announcers. I was going to listen to Chris Blair more than anybody during that. But Gavin squared. I got to give it to him, especially Gavin Guidry. I mean, he just I
want to talk about that.
Give a stare down to the South Carolina. But I think outside of this, I mean, LSU probably played its worst series of the year. I mean, compare that to the Arkansas series. Compare that to all the other series as well. Their offense finally got woken up, but their pitching right now is a serious problem. I mean, Paul Skeens, no discredit to him. I mean, that's a really good offense. They got some power hitters in that lineup. That's their home ballpark. But Ty Floyd, we didn't even get to see the Sunday starter, so we can't even say anything about that. But Ty Floyd is definitely concerning.
So, yeah, we got to – luckily, the series get a little easier. I think we're through the toughest part of our schedule.
Yeah,
one thing I want to go back to the game real quick. The South Carolina Friday starter, after striking out Dylan Cruz, he yells at the dugout, "You can't F with me," and gives him ooh.
And then
the next inning, Tommy Tanks hits an absolute missile, and then Trey Morgan hits one off the wall, and he exited the game. And then Gavin Dugai hit a grand slam. So, but Gavin Guidry comes in as a two-way player, and talk about some freaking balls of stone, man. Big matchup, number 1 versus number 6. You're coming in the 9th inning with a 1-run lead, and you just sit them down. He's wearing number 1 for a reason. It's good to see that a freshman kind of just being hot because, like you said, the pitching staff.
Yeah, the freshmen honestly have been studs.
Except for the freshman out of Canada.
What's saving the bullpen right now, especially with the injuries. Hopefully Garrett Edwards isn't out for a long time. It's looking like Chase Shores. That injury might shelve him for the rest of the year. But if you can get guys step it up, you're seeing Griffin Herring. He's been solid through SEC play. And I think you're going to see more of Gavin Guidry, especially what he did against a really good South Carolina offense. He not only did he get the 8th inning, but he shut them down in the 9th inning when they needed him the most. So I think as bad as, as LSU look for most of the series, you'll definitely take splitting that series, go 1-1. You go back home, face off against another top 15 opponent in Kentucky. And if you can get 2 out of 3 there, then schedule really sets up nicely for you. You go to a struggling Ole Miss series, and then you have Alabama, and then you have Mississippi State, and then you have Auburn, and then Georgia. So that's like the bottom half of both the West and the East teams. So LSU should definitely be in a good spot whenever it comes to the election show on Memorial Day.
Yeah, so after we take on Kentucky, who is 9-3 in SEC play this weekend, currently as it stands on April 9th, happy Easter, by the way.
Yeah.
the remainder of our season, they all have losing SEC records. Alabama's 4-8, Auburn's 4-8, State's 3-9, Ole Miss is 2-10, and Georgia is 3-9. So if a time for the pitching staff to start struggling would be now, because they have a chance to figure it out. Now you obviously don't want them to struggle. You want to try to
rotate them, let them figure it out. Let
exactly.
Gavin Guidry start Sunday, and then let Christian Little.
Yeah, we didn't even get to see Little at the 3 spot this weekend. So
I think we'll see him.
Curious to see who starts against Tulane on Tuesday. I think that might set up who, it might be the answer. If we see Hurd pitch against Tulane, maybe that's another sign that they're going to put out Little there. Or maybe if you see Little on Tuesday, maybe they give Hurd another shot or give one of these two freshmen, either Herring or Guidry, the start.
But give them all different scenarios, because come postseason, I mean, you're going to use Paul Skeens on 3 days of rest if it comes to it.
You can even use them on your second game too. I mean, you could put, maybe go run out Ty Floyd on the Friday game since you're facing the 4 seed, and then throw Paul Skeens in the it would be the winner of the 2v3 seed.
You're gonna
and we are looking way ahead to us.
We're looking way ahead, but I mean, it's looking likely if they take care of business, and LSU will be hosting not only the regionals but the supers.
Yeah, so I like that idea, Tyler. You throw out your number 2 pitcher when you're playing.
Because I mean, if you can't be like one of these lower tier teams with like your number 2 guy, then you shouldn't be there.
So, but I think Tuesday versus Tulane, we see Thatcher Hurd, and then maybe you see like a very structured pitch count. You see a Hurd and a Christian Little, considering Little.
You got to get Little sometime, because that's a long rest period. You don't want to give him too much rest.
Right. But I mean, beginning of the season, you flirted with Riley Cooper starting game 2. Maybe he moves back into that role. He's a good lefty. You mentioned drawing a blank now on his name. Lefty freshman
Griffin Herring.
He's so good in the relief and closing. I feel like you don't want to move him.
Yeah, especially with injuries to Edwards and Shores, you got to keep at least one of your key freshman guys in the bullpen for now.
Yeah, hopefully we'll find out more on their injuries tomorrow during the Jay Johnson radio show. But Kentucky, I don't know much about them. I just know I think they're ranked 15. They did lose the series to Georgia, who's last in the SEC East. Kind of tied for dead last with Ole Miss in the SEC. So that's not a great look. But we are back in Alex box. We'll have Paul Skeens pitching on Thursday, hopefully. Hopefully the weather lets up.
I mean, he should. He only threw like 50 pitches.
Yeah, so hopefully we get just a great matchup, a lot of offense from us, from LSU. Obviously, LSU biased here. And Paul Skeens just has like a 12-13 strikeout appearance, and we go home with a dub. And we we're still looking for that first sweep. I think you get a sweep against Kentucky, that really sets you up for the rest of the season.
Yeah, especially if you get a sweep against Kentucky. I think there are some sweepable opponents. I mean, I know that the SEC, it's very hard to sweep anybody. I mean, who would have thought that, Missouri would have swept Tennessee to open up SEC play? So I know that you're seeing like a lot of the lower tier schools. I think that, Georgia looked like a sweepable, but maybe they're finding their rhythm. Mississippi State is looking like they're finding a little bit of rhythm after beating Alabama. So I think that if you're looking at the one series that could be a sweep, I would say at the home series against Alabama would be probably the possible sweep there. I just think they just don't have the pitching like they did last year, and that if you don't have the pitching, you're not beating this LSU team.
Yeah, because like we saw, they can score however many runs they need to score. I was a little worried on Friday, but one thing I learned is never count them out, because this offense can just erupt for 6, 7
can
runs.
Erupt anytime. You could be down 4 going to the 8th, and you're like, oh, man, we're about to sweep them out of our ability. Then all of a sudden, Dugas hits a grand slam, and, this could really save, You got to keep up with Arkansas as well. They're 8-4 now. LSU's in 7-4. So we'll see if this one game loss will come down to the wire and hurt the Tigers.
I don't think it will. I mean, if you're looking at a head-to-head, I think it'll probably just maybe affect the SEC seeding. But don't the 1 and 2 teams get to bye anyway?
They'll just look at the winning percentage. and go from there. I mean,
I
they'll
don't
be
think you can.
regional, super regional host at this rate, anyways.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't think you
that's
can
all. I mean, as
discredit
good
a
as
team.
much as the SEC tournament is great. That doesn't mean a damn thing. I mean, just I hate to bring up LSU again, but LSU women's basketball, they didn't even win close to the SEC tournament. Look where they went. So, SEC tournament, it's all fine
Had a
and
chance,
dandy.
baby.
Hoover is a great place to play, but in the end, your ultimate goal is to go to Omaha and host that national championship trophy.
That is true. So hopefully we see our Tigers take it that far.